Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial of the day will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with news topic list. Today is 8th of April. The first news is draft guideline for the registration of doctor, something very important that will call for more better regulation in terms of the registration of doctor. Second, Gati Shakti PLI, that is Production Link Incentive Scheme, will offset global headwind and growth. This is what the Ministry of Finance report has to quote. Third, India US 2+2 discussion with the key issues. Second last, public participation short for child protection. The last is an editorial, that is bricks for a new order. So we'll see the detail about this editorial as well. Apart from this, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before that, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. And just to tell you about upcoming mock test series that we are ongoing with, because yesterday only the interview process has started by the UPSC. So those of you who is going for the interview, they can have a mock interview program which is conducted by the Apti Academy with the eminent board member. You will getting the recording video of your interview. The free DAF analysis would be there. So for more details, you can refer to the description link जहाँ पे मैंने dedicated link दिया, आप वहाँ पे register कर सकते हैं और mock interview program में enroll कर सकते हैं. So first news of the day, that is draft guideline for the registration of doctor. This particular news is important for General Studies paper 2, that is issues related to development and management of health. Also, it is important in the same paper under the topic that is issues related to development and management of education and human resources. So दोनों जगह पे ये important है. So what is there in the news? Basically, recently what has happened that the National Medical Commission has released a 3 draft regulation जो कि आने वाले टाइम में जो डॉक्टर्स की रजिस्ट्रेशन हैं उसको रजिस्टर करेगी and this will be known as the National Medical Register. Right? Just to tell you a brief about National Medical Commission, जो National Medical Commission है वो replace की गई थी by the MCI, that is the Medical Council of India, as per the Gazette of the Government of India, and now this is under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So the new draft guideline will change the way medical practices is being regulated in our country. Previously, जो MCI थी, Medical Council of India, that was the apex body, the nodal body to regulate the entire medical practices and functioning in our country. So NMC, that is the National Medical Commission, will conduct a national exit test, जिसको next का नाम दिया गया, for all medical graduate that will be able to practice in medicine. So something very important in terms of restructuring the entire medical practices in India and even for the registration of doctors to the National Medical Register. Now क्या है draft guideline में क्या-क्या important बातें हैं जो आपको पता होनी चाहिए. So the National Medical Commission has released 3 future-looking draft regulation. Among that, the first is License to Practice Medicine 2022, registration of additional qualification for any doctor, and third is a temporary registration of foreign medicine practitioner who practice the medicine in India. We know that many students in India pursue their MBBS degree abroad, खास करके रशिया, यूक्रेन, इवन कनाडा ऐसे सिटीज़ हैं, कंट्रीज़ हैं जहाँ से वो अपने मेडिकल MBBS डिग्री लेते हैं. तो उस पर्टिकुलर स्टूडेंट्स के लिए यहाँ पे भी एक प्रोविजंस की गई है जो नेक्स्ट एग्जाम के थ्रू वो पूरा कर पाएंगे. आई विल गिव यू द डिटेल अबाउट द नेक्स्ट हाउ दिस विल फंक्शन. Now, these regulations together stipulate the process of registration for the doctor in the National Medical Register. That would be a database for all the doctors that is practicing in India. Now, at present, जितने भी doctors हैं that have to register with the respective state medical council, ये मैं आपको present provisions बता रहा हूँ. जिस भी state में वो practice करते हैं, उनको वहाँ के state medical council में अपने आप को register करना पड़ता होगा, without which they cannot practice in India. So this is a current provision as of which the things are being regulated. But after this draft guideline, thing is going to be changed, and the National Medical Commission would be the sole and nodal body, the apex body will be regulating the entire functioning of the medicine practices in the country. नाउ गाइडलाइन में डॉक्टर की रजिस्ट्रेशंस के बारे में कुछ स्पेसिफिक बातें कही गई हैं. एज पर द गाइडलाइन, द Indian medical graduates will have to complete some of the following parts or documentation or information sharing की अगर बात करें तो MBBS degree from a recognized university. If they are a doctor, they have to produce their MBBS degree. Complete their mandatory 12-month internship. हर एक डॉक्टर्स को गवर्नमेंट ने प्रोविजन रखी हैं कि आप लास्ट ईयर में अपने बेसिकली जो मैंडेटरी इंटर्नशिप है वो कंप्लीट करेंगे. विदाउट दिस यू कैन नॉट प्रैक्टिस फॉर एनी अदर, राइट. Pass yet to implemented the licensed called national exit test for all the registration, and even this would be important for the students who have done their MBBS degree from any foreign universities. Now next की अगर बात करें, what is next? Next is a proposed examination for granting license to the registration of practicing in India, right? अगर आपको इंडिया में प्रैक्टिस करनी है, अगर आपने बाहर यूनिवर्सिटी से किया हुआ है तो नेक्स्ट की एग्जाम आपको पूरी करनी होगी. जिस तरह से फॉरेन में अगर बात करें यूएस में दे हैव USMLE, दैट इज यूनाइटेड स्टेट मेडिकल लाइसेंसिंग एग्जामिनेशन, एंड दोज हु विटनेस टू प्रैक्टिस इन यूएस हैज टू पास दिस एग्जामिनेशन. So in light of that only we already had some provisions, but government ने इसको change करके next को implement किया. Now at present student who complete the MBBS has to pass the final year of their university and eligible to get license without licensing test. But now this would be a license test that would be mandatorily required for the doctors. Now the examination will act as a country standard test for passing the MBBS and get a license, right? जहाँ पे जो qualified doctors होंगे even for the post graduation courses, instead of the current NEET PG, the student will have to sit for the complete of their MBBS after 1 year internship. तो 1 year की MBBS degree plus 1 year की basically पूरी MBBS degree plus 1 year की internship would be mandatory to go for a NEET PG, and this can again be done by the next examination. Now कुछ और features की अगर बात करें, another feature of this exam will not be able of the theory paper like MBBS में जिस तरह से होती हैं. अब इसको कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट टेस्ट को इंक्लूड किया जाएगा जहाँ पे एक क्लिनिकल एक्यूमेन एक स्टूडेंट की चेक की जाएगी. So the test will be having 2 parts. The first part would be having a written examination. So this test would comprise of 2 parts. The first is for the written examination and other is the practical examination, right? So this is how the test will go. And the student will have to appear for the first next test, that will be after the completion of their MBBS degree, and second after the completion of their internship. तो internship करने के बाद जो उनको practical knowledge होगी, जो उनके clinical acumen developed होंगे, जो knowledge developed होंगे, उसकी भी पूरी proper testing होगी. Now according to the official, next is likely to begin from 2024 onwards. So government has come up with draft. It would be not immediately implemented because there are some things that has to set, और किसी भी चीज़ को इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करने के लिए हमें पूरे इंस्टीट्यूशनल तरीके से उसे चेंजेस करनी पड़ती है. सो द गवर्नमेंट हैज सेट अ टाइमलाइन फॉर 2024 टू इम्प्लीमेंट द नेक्स्ट एग्जामिनेशन प्रोसेस फॉर द रजिस्ट्रेशन पार्ट. नाउ एम क्या है इस ड्राफ्ट रेगुलेशन की? व्हाई गवर्नमेंट हैव कम अप? व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ दिस रेगुलेशन? एट प्रेजेंट अगर नेशनल मेडिकल रजिस्टर की बात करें, जितने भी डॉक्टर्स हैं there does exist will create a collating data for all state. तो हर एक states के पास अपनी अपनी data collect होती है. एक uniformity लाने की बात की जा रही है so that a uniform data can be maintained with the central agencies. However, जो draft regulation होगी that seeks to create a dynamic and regulate updated register for each and every individual doctor if their qualification is added, if they are leaving a particular place, or if any advancement is there in their academic excellence. So as per the draft regulation, जो National Medical Commission है, that will issue a unique ID. जिस तरह से आधार है उस तरह से unique ID दी जाएगी, and this unique ID to all the students who have passed NEET examination and get admissions to the recognized medical college. So this will help to collect a data for all and every individual doctors who is enrolled in the MBBS course. Further वो जहाँ भी जिस course में enroll करेंगे तो unique ID में उसकी चीज़ें वो add होती चलेगी, उसकी academic achievements, right? So the same ID would be uploaded at the time of student goes for the post graduations या फिर कोई super specialty course कर रहा है या फिर कोई training program है. So all data can be collected with this unique ID provided to each and every MBBS graduate, और जिस कोर्स में जिन्होंने enroll किया है MBBS के, उन सभी लोगों को एक unique ID दी जाएगी. Now the draft regulation also put onus to the doctors that will keep updated with the registration, with the details of additional qualification, changes in employment, and contract detail for the place of work as soon as the things take place. Now at present जो registration है that is maintained by the state and is updated when doctor deregister themselves after every 5 years. So ये सारे provisions को change की जा रही है. Now centralized data would be made with the unique ID that would be provided to each and every doctors. Now advantages क्या होंगे इस dynamic registration के? This will consolidate our national register with a unique ID which will be not a duplication data. किसी भी तरह की जो data की duplications है उसको रोका जा सकेगा. And this data is also likely to update more frequency जहाँ पे comprehensive database होगी central government के पास with regards to all the doctor practicing in our country. Further, if their education qualification is enhanced, वो भी data होगी, training, 1 year place, एक सारी training मतलब complete data एक holistic जगह पे एक place पे होंगी. So this data can also be shared with the state government and any other health program who is looking to hire a doctor. तो एक बेसिकली आप कह सकते हैं प्री बेस्ड डेटा होगी किसी इंडिविजुअल डॉक्टर्स की स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के साथ वो शेयर की जा सकती है ताकि वो उसके पूरे एकेडमिक एक्सीलेंस को, पूरे प्रैक्टिसेस को, प्रैक्टिकल नॉलेज को, कहाँ कहाँ उसने प्रैक्टिस की है, सारी चीज़ों को एक्सेस कर पाएंगे. Now the other news that is Gati Shakti PLI will offset global headwinds and growth. This particular news is important for General Studies paper 3, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So according to the Ministry of Finance, the scheme is that is the Gati Shakti and production link incentive scheme will offset the global headwinds and it will drive further investment in our country. This is what the Finance Ministry recent report has to quote with regards to two important schemes, that is a Gati Shakti scheme and PLI scheme, which is production link incentive schemes. इसमें almost 10 to 12 ऐसे important sectors हैं जो कि गवर्नमेंट ने इंक्लूड की. This will further result in the highest post-recovery growth that India economy is already witnessed. Post-pandemic recovery हो रही है, तो ये एक indications होंगी कि किस तरह से हमारी recovery की जो stage है वो इंडिया में चल रही है. Now, finding of the report, some of things that can again important for your mains examination. So finance ministry की जो report है, they have specifically stated that they have witnessed improvement in the labor's force participation. अगर LFP की बात करें, उसके participations बढ़ी हैं and even the unemployment rate has decreased a bit. So LFP has increased and unemployment data has decreased. Unemployment rate has decreased. So the center has extended the PM Garib Kalyan Yojana for another 6 months. This would be ending by September 2022. इसको कई बार extend किया गया है considering the fact that the economic situation is not good. Revival जो post revival होनी चाहिए वो उतने पेस पे नहीं है. इस वजह से ये schemes को, ये योजना को गवर्नमेंट ने आगे extend किया. The GST collection has breached a mark of 1.4. This is a landmark collection that Indian economy has seen in the GST. और ये आगे अपने पोस्ट रिकवरी की इंडिकेशंस भी दे रही है और आने वाले टाइम में ये एंटिसिपेशन है ये नंबर्स और ऊपर जाएंगे. सो द यूपीआई ट्रांजेक्शन विच वी हैव सीन ड्यूरिंग द कोविड-19 जहाँ पे कैशलेस ट्रांजेक्शन की बात की गई थी, ये नंबर भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा बड़ी है. इवन फॉर द यूपीआई ट्रांजेक्शन इन मार्च हैज़ क्रॉस्ड ऑलमोस्ट 5 बिलियन इन अ मंथ फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द एडवांसमेंट इन टर्म्स ऑफ द इंडियन इकोनॉमी रिकवरी. और अगर एक कंज्यूमर लेवल की बात करें तो कंज्यूमर की अवेयरनेस को भी दिखाता है कि वो कितने डिजिटली साउंड है इंडिया में. Now, gross FDI inflow in the economy has also rose up to 69.7. This is what the ministry report has to quote. An investment fund through external commercial borrowing, also known as ECB, जो ECBs हैं, उनके थ्रू अगर अपस्विंग भी देखी गई है, the registration for 29.7% has witnessed in April to February. Now, PMI की अगर बात करें, this has stayed the expansion on 8 important कुछ अगर 8 इंपॉर्टेंट मंथ्स की अगर बात करें कलेक्शंस को लेकर के, सो ई टोल कलेक्शंस, ई वे बिल, रेलवे फ्राइट, एयर कार्गो एंड अमंग द अदर्स दे हैव कंप्लीटेड द रोबस्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर्स. सो दिस इज हाउ द थिंग्स आर वर्किंग इन इंडियन इकोनॉमिकल कंटेक्स्ट where the post recovery is anticipated to be going on the positive side and we can expect for the same also. Now, geopolitical conflicts और impact की बात की गई है. जो basically by geopolitical conflicts I mean the recent invasion of Russia in Ukraine. तो उसको लेकर के खासा ध्यान दिया गया है कि इसकी वजह से जो फूड और फर्टिलाइजर, क्रूड ऑयल के प्राइजेस है वो बढ़े हैं. एंड इवन इफ द क्रूड ऑयल प्राइजेस इंक्रीज, उसकी इम्पैक्ट पूरे फूड सप्लाई चेन में होती है, बिकॉज ट्रांसपोर्टेशन इज अ मेजर वे थ्रू ट्रक्स जहाँ पे सामान एक जगह से दूसरे जगह लाए जाते हैं। द रीजन भी, अगर फ्यूल प्राइसेस बढ़ती है, कमोडिटी की प्राइसेस अगर बढ़ रही है तो कमोडिटी की प्राइसेस अल्टीमेटली बढ़ेंगी। सो दिस इज व्हाट द मंथली इकोनॉमिक रिव्यू which was prepared by the Ministry of Finance has to core its report. Now, India-US 2+2 will discuss the key issues. This particular news is important for General Studies Paper 2, that is bilateral regional grouping and agreement, evolving India's and affecting India's interest. So under this news, we'll see how the 2+2 is going to be a roadmap. So the government of India in the upcoming 2+2 dialogue, which is scheduled to be held in Washington, तो कहा गया है that India and US will next week में होनी, 11th of April is the day where they will be meeting. So this would be an opportunity for both countries to look for an important regional and global development. And this will also provide for a roadmap where both countries will see together how to address the common interest and concern that is arising for both the countries. एक bilateral meeting है which is upcoming for the 2+2 dialogue, and India has set aside the representation, and India की तरफ से जो डिफेंस मिनिस्टर हैं एंड इवन द एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स डिफेंस मिनिस्टर मिस्टर राजनाथ सिंह और एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर मिस्टर एस जयशंकर वुड बी रिप्रेजेंटिंग इंडिया, एंड दे वुड बी हैविंग अ टॉक विद यूएस डिफेंस सेक्रेटरी, और जो खास करके सेक्रेटरी ऑफ स्टेट है जो सिनोनिमस पोस्ट है वहाँ पे भी 11th of April में होनी है वॉशिंगटन यूएस में. फोकस ऑफ द डायलॉग, व्हाट इज द थिंग दैट वुड बी द डिस्कशन, एजेंडा क्या होगी. सो कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट इश्यूज हैं जिनको डिस्कस करने की बात की गई है. कंप्रिहेंसिव रिव्यू की जाएगी अक्रॉस ऑल द पॉइंट्स. सो द फर्स्ट इज इंडिया यूएस बायलैटरल एजेंडा फॉर द फॉरेन पॉलिसी. दिस वुड बी द पाइवोटल फॉर बोथ द कंट्री. डिफेंस और सिक्योरिटी को लेकर के बातें की जाएगी, वेयर ऑब्जेक्टिव इज टू प्रोवाइड अ स्ट्रैटेजिक गाइडेंस. Again, other important issue that is there aligned is cyber security and public health. Rule-based international order in Indo-Pacific, because India has been vocal about the free and open Indo-Pacific. Not only India, जितने भी Quad के members हैं, सारे member countries ने free और open Indo-Pacific की बात की है, because we have seen the dominance of China in this region. So the Quad member has already advocated for the basically a free and open Indo-Pacific. Now, focusing on the latest development in the Ukraine would be again an important issues with the bilateral ties and unfolding situation जो यूक्रेन में हो रही है उसको इसके बारे में भी बात होगी कि किस तरह से एक रोड मैप बनाई जाए, बिकॉज इंडिया हैज एब्सेंट फ्रॉम द वोटिंग एंड यूएस इज ऑफ द ओपिनियन जहाँ पे उन्होंने ह्यूज सैंक्शंस लगाए हुए हैं. Now, advantages of 2+2 dialogue. So this dialogue will provide an opportunity to exchange the view about important regional and global development and how both countries can work together on the common interest and concern. The US administration ने further कहा है that India and US will advance a comprehensive global strategic partnership, which is again very important agreement in terms of bilateral relationship between India and the United States. Now moving to the other news, that is public participation for the children protection. This particular news is important for General Studies Paper 2, government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So in a measured decision to enhance the child protection, जो यूनियन गवर्नमेंट उन्होंने प्लान किया है to partner with a public private partnership. This will call for the private sector participation where they would be volunteering in protecting the चाइल्ड, राइट. तो जो वनरेबल चाइल्ड्स हैं या जो एब्डोमिनल और मिसिंग चाइल्ड है उन लोगों के लिए खासा ये स्कीम बनाई गई है. सो मिशन वात्सल्य स्कीम, व्हाट इज दिस स्कीम ऑल अबाउट? दिस इज अ मिशन, दिस इज अ स्कीम बेसिकली दैट इज अंडर द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ women and child development that has recently sent a draft guideline where how this scheme is going to be implemented to the states and union territories, and they have even sought suggestions from the state and UTs. तो इसकी जो फाइनल implementations हैं उसकी बिफोर हैंड प्रिपरेशन है ये. एंड मिशन वात्सल्य इज एसेंशियली रीनेमिंग ऑफ द प्री एजेक्सटी स्कीम दैट इज कॉल्ड चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन स्कीम एंड ऑल्सो इंक्लूड द चाइल्ड वेलफेयर स्कीम्स. सो समथिंग बेसिक्स दैट यू मस्ट नो. मिशन वात्सल्य की अगर बात करें, दिस इज फॉर इम्प्रूविंग द फंक्शनिंग ऑफ स्टैट्यूटरी बॉडीज. इट एम्स टू स्ट्रेंथन द डिलीवरी सर्विसेज, upscale the institutional care services, training and capacity building for duty holders, and also to encourage non-institutional community-based care. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस एक और जो मिशन है जिसके बारे में आपको पता होना चाहिए, दैट इज मिशन शक्ति. दीज टू इंपॉर्टेंट mission can be again important for your prelims examination. So mission Shakti is something a one-stop centers, women helpline 181 launch की गई है dedicated. बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ is a part of this, and Nari Adalats, right? So Sambal, that is safety and security for women. अब फीचर्स क्या क्या प्रपोज किए गए हैं इस स्कीम के अंदर. सो द चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन इंक्लूड सर्विसेज फॉर चिल्ड्रन इन नीड एंड केयर. And it will also call for all the orphanages, abandoned and missing children in conflict with justice and juvenile offenders and other vulnerable children. Now the program component include institutional services, जहाँ पे child care institutions जो हैं एक important component होंगे. That would be supplemented by the family-based non-institutional care through sponsorship. Right? They will aim to foster and adopt the children who is actually missing, और खास करके वैसे बच्चे जो कि orphanage है categories में. It also support aftercare program for all the children at CCI, that is Child Care Institution, and once they turn 18, तो 18 से पहले उनको सारी जो सुविधाएं हैं, जो फैसिलिटीज़ हैं, वो इस स्कीम के अंदर मिलेंगी. Now, according to the draft guideline, the government has also planned to integrate massively, successfully Childline with Ministry of Home Affairs, helping 112, which provide emergency services for medical emergency and women safety. Now, public participations की अगर बात करें, how this is going to help to encourage the public participation, एक synergy बनाने की ज़रूरत है where maximum utilization of resources should be there, and the civil society, the people group and the various voluntary organization can be encouraged to participate in this, and under this mission this would be a systematic and phased manner, and this would ensure कि इस program की proper implementation हो पूरे target को achieve करने के लिए, which I have already stated. Now this could also include organization under the government initiative such as Bharat Scout and Guide, NCC volunteers or Nehru Yuva Kendras. Now more NGO and self-help group would be identified to ensure कि इसकी जो reachability है वो वहाँ तक भी बढ़े. Now Vatsalya portal, this is a dedicated portal by the Ministry of Women and Child Development. It has also posed Vatsalya portal that allow the volunteer to register so that the states and district authority can engage them for executing with the various schemes, the welfare schemes that is indeed needed for this category of people. Now moving ahead with the editorial of the day, that is BRICS for a New Order. This particular editorial is important for General Studies paper 2, that is Bilateral Regional Grouping and Agreement, Evolving India's and Affecting India's Interest. So this is written by Somaya Kranti Ghosh and Bikramjit Chaudhary. So what I'm going to discuss under this editorial, I'll be simplifying this editorial under 4 important subheads. The first includes strengthening finance, disagreement with West, Russia dependency, and India's position. If you talk about the theme of this editorial, the entire editorial focuses upon the BRICS roadmap and how this BRIC multilateral forum is going to be engaging for the entire world. So first thing first, अगर BRICS की बात करें, BRICS is developing in a direction that was never envisaged. Right? ये एक ऐसी grouping है which has a geopolitical rather than economical consideration, which can seen as a strategic interest which is shared by Russia and China. If you talk about the member of this BRICS, initially the BRICS was joined by India. India joined the BRICS with Russia and China. सबसे पहले Russia और उसके बाद China. These two were the one. Then it was called RC. After India joined this, it became RIC. Now after that there was the entry of Brazil. It became BRIC. And finally after the South Africa became the member, it has been adopted as a BRICS. The name changes. So these are the 5 important countries of the BRICS. Now strengthening finance की बात की गई है. There's definitely a need to strengthen the finance. BRICS एक active involvement कर रही है in terms of getting the economic system towards a higher side, where non-Western countries, international financial institutions, despite a frantic oppositions by the traditional distribution of the world money, right? एक substantial almost 22% of world GDP जो है वो BRICS country के पास में है, and among that the highest is with China, right? China की almost $11 trillion की economy है, right? Now BRICS, मैं 2017 की बात कर रहा हूँ, now they have reached almost $20 trillion economy. This is the current value for China's GDP. Now the BRICS countries had decided that 100 billion BRICS Development Bank would be there, or a reserve currency pool for another 100 billion would also ensure कि जो alternative countries हैं नॉन वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज में उनको भी फंडिंग दी जाए, चाहे वो उनके डेवलपमेंट पर्पसेस को हो या फिर कोई सीनियर इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस को लेके हो. Now, disagreement with the West, BRICS countries, although is a part of basically major countries like Russia, India, China, South Africa and Brazil. तो यहाँ पे बात की गई है कि किस तरह से डिसएग्रीमेंट है वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज के साथ. सो इन मेनी रेस्पेक्ट दे हैव अ डिसएग्रीमेंट विद रिगार्ड टू वेस्ट एंड दैट इज रूटेड इवन इन द हॉस्टाइल एंड पॉलिटिकल सर्कमस्टांसेस. रशिया और इंडिया की बात करें, दीज आर मच रिपेल्ड बाय पॉलिटिक्स एंड मोरल वैल्यूज ऑफ द वेस्ट and even the political system that has caused much milder negative effect through differences that in the field too. Now, इसी context में अगर बात करें, the current crisis in the Ukraine has also consolidated the BRICS group, which will further efforts to become a real alternative that would create West a real multipolar world. So these are some of the disagreement that the BRICS as a multilateral forum has with the Western countries. So एक क्वेश्चन आपसे ये भी पूछा जा सकता है मेंस एग्जामिनेशन में, that how BRICS and the other developed economy can be shrinked, or how is the actual performance, real performance of these two institutions. Now, Russia ki dependency is something which is inevitable for country like China and India. So Russia has given incentive to accommodate both India and China in terms of energy sector. एक बहुत ही बड़ा contribution है रशिया का. And this could mean that the industry and energy cross investment between Russia and India as well with Russia and China. Thus, Russia invasion to Ukraine appeared to be unwittingly put into the sweet center, जहाँ पे डिप्लोमेटिक ट्रायंगल की अगर बात करें इंडो पैसिफिक, नीदर चाइना नॉर इंडिया, ये दोनों ऐसे कंट्रीज हैं जिन्होंने बेसिकली एब्सटेन किया यूएनएससी के वोटिंग से. यूएनएससी वोटिंग विच कॉल्ड फॉर द ह्यूमैनिटेरियन क्राइसिस अराइजिंग फ्रॉम यूक्रेन amid the invasion of Russia and Ukraine, उस वजह से हुई थी वोटिंग. But again, these two countries has not voted against Russia and they have abstained from the voting. So looking into India's position, India has been receiving a stream of high-profile visitors around the world, both from US, even for Russia, Japan. बहुत सारे ऐसे countries हैं जिनके premier, जिनके जो leading leaders है वो India है. And this included the delegation from the US, Australia, Japan, and even the Quad partnership that is again very significant for a country like India. The foreign minister of Greece has also been in India, and Israel Prime Minister is scheduled to visit soon, which will be having an important bilateral between India and Israel. And India is basking with well-deserved spotlight with well-crafted diplomacy as well. And after all, जो RIC की अगर बात करें, that has around 22% of global GDP. This is again factually important point for your mains, and 16% of the total global export and services. Right? So this is how India position will go in terms of BRICS. Now moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answer of yesterday question. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question also the correct option is C. Today's MCQ for practice, आपको बताना है Carbon Watch app was recently launched by which among the following cities? कर्नाटका, चंडीगढ़, मध्य प्रदेश और झारखंड. किस स्टेट ने लॉन्च किया इसको? Second, Defense Acquisition Council is a constitutional body. The Prime Minister of India is the chairman of the council. So if you know the correct answer, it is well and good. If you don't know, you have to check for the correct option. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.